Golden Dawn leadership sentenced to 13 years in prison.
Here's a summary of the article.
A Greek court sentenced the leadership of the extreme-right Golden Dawn Party to 13 years in prison Wednesday, imposing the near-maximum penalty for running a criminal organization blamed for numerous violent hate crimes. The landmark ruling follows a 5-year trial of dozens of top officials, members and supporters of Golden Dawn, an organization founded as a neo-Nazi group in the 1980s that rose to become Greece's third-largest political during a major financial crisis in the previous decade. 11 other former parliament members were jailed for between 5 and 7 years for membership of a criminal organization, while a party associate was given a life sentence for the murder of Greek rap singer Pavlos Fyssas in a 2013 attack that triggered the crackdown against the party. Arrests will be carried out after the court hears final arguments for probation considerations.
This post received a score of 12,000, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Golden Dawn leader Nikos Michailoliakos and 5 other former MPs of the neo-Nazi party were sentenced to 13 years in prison by an Athens court on Wednesday. Party member Georgos Roupakias was handed a life term and an additional 10 years for the murder of rapper Pavlos Fyssas in 2013.
Hans Gruber won't save them this time.
Thank you, I was trying to remember where I'd heard this name before.
I think in Die Hard it's Asian Dawn. Golden Dawn is a relatively new movement. In the past 10 to 15 years are fake.
Golden Dawn was founded in 1985.
No, you're thinking of Goldie Hawn from the movie Die Hard that came out in 1984.
Mayor Goldie Wilson?
Mayor. Now that's a good idea. I could run for mayor.
Strach how there's absolutely no mention of the human trafficking and prostitution, sex slavery these wastes of era were involved in.
Those charges are probably still being built up. If they charge them prematurely and don't have their ducks in a row, the prosecutors could risk an acquittal or mistrial. Plus, now that these guys are hit with life sentences, there's a ton of leverage to hold against these Nazis to start giving up the ghost on those operations in exchange for some creature comforts. Historically, the majority of Nazis will flip on each other when it's time to pay the piper.
Evil feeds upon itself.
Ungoliant's hunger was so great that eventually she devoured herself.
In less publicized news, Marian Kotleba just got 4 years in prison, pending appeal. He is the leader of LSNS, a neo-fascist party in Slovakia that got nearly 10% in the last election. The jail time is for writing out checks for €1,488, which is a numeronym for 2 racist slogans. The party is however still allowed to operate.
10% is insanely high for a Nazi party. It means it had to get traction from somewhere. Commonly unknown fact, but Slovakia was one of the worst offenders and biggest contributors to the Holocaust during WW2. Slovakia actively deported so many Jews to German and Polish camps that the Nazis had to actually begin to charge Slovakia per person to try and cover the costs of the resources required to keep up with the influx of Jews. Slovakia agreed and happily paid to have their Jews taken. Slovakia has always and still does have a large issue with racism and discrimination. Source: Lawrence Rees, Auschwitz, The Nazis and the Final Solution.
A colleague of mine and his family fled former Yugoslavia in the late 80s as the country was descending into ethnic divisions again. His uncle, who he knew and loved for all his life, one day said that, "You are my enemy because of these ethnic divisions." His parents were a marriage between 2 opposed factions. One of these factions was former Nazis who wanted control of their country. Reading more about it on Wiki, and it is really complicated. To my colleague, it's simple: Nazism never dies, and will come back in a flash when given the right conditions.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.